The Rise of End Times Fascism by Naomi Klein and Astra. I can't stress how important this essay is, so I'm going to take us through it. For years, these billionaires have been pushing an extreme notion that wealthy, tax-hating people should up and start their own high-tech fiefdoms, or territories where they can basically lord over the people as CEOs, unrestrained by laws and the restrictions the government usually imposes upon. These would be techno-fascist corporate nation states. But now, all of a sudden, this once fringe network of corporate secessionists finds itself knocking on open doors at the dead center of global power. The first signs that fortunes were shifting came in 2023, when a campaigning Donald Trump, seemingly out of nowhere, promised to hold a contest that would lead to the creation of 10 freedom cities on federal land. The energy in DC is absolutely electric. Trey Goff, the chief of staff of Prospera, recently enthused after a trip to Capitol Hill. Legislation paving the way for a bevy of corporate city-states should be complete by the end of the year, he claimed. They dream of splintering governments and carving up the world into hyper-capitalist, democracy-free havens under the sole control of the supremely wealthy, protected by private mercenaries, serviced by AI robots, and financed by cryptocurrencies. One might assume that it is contradictory for Trump, elected on a flag-waving America First platform, to lend credence to this vision of sovereign territories ruled over by billionaire god kings. Much has been made of the colorful flame wars between the MAGA mouthpiece Steve Bannon, a proud nationalist and populist, and the Trump-allied billionaires who he has attacked as techno-feudalists. However, there are similarities between Steve Bannon's vision for America and the vision of these techno-feudalists. Both embrace this sort of end-time societal collapse philosophy, that everything is about to go to hell, and that we essentially need to create these bunkers, or whether that bunker be a billionaire's fortress or a fortress nation. So there's a mass market vision of fortress nations, I'm reading from the article again, that has gripped the hard right globally, from Italy to Israel, Australia to the United States. In a time of ceaseless peril, openly supremacist movements in these countries are positioning their relatively wealthy states as armed bunkers. These bunkers are brutal in their determination to expel and imprison unwanted humans, even if that requires indefinite confinement in extra-national penal colonies from Manus Island to Guantanamo Bay. Elon Musk, who dramatically grew his fortune alongside Thiel at PayPal, embodies this implosive ethos. This is a person who looks up at the wonders of the night sky and apparently sees only opportunities to fill that inky unknown with his own space junk. Though he burnished his reputation warning about the dangers of the climate crisis and AI, he and his so-called Department of Government Efficiency henchmen now spend their days escalating those same risks. If policing the boundaries of the bunkered nation is end times fascism's job one, equally important is job two, for the US government to lay claim to whatever resources its protected citizens might need to get through the tough times ahead. Maybe it's Panama's Canal, or Greenland's fast-melting shipping routes, or Ukraine's critical minerals. This is why Trump is planning invasions of Mexico, of Greenland, of Canada, as it seems irrational. But if you're planning for the end times, if you're planning to create a bunker nation that is armored against the global catastrophes of climate change and what will come about because of it, then these things start to not seem so crazy. That's not to say they're justified. They absolutely are not. And there are better ways to solve these problems. The way is to tax billionaires and regulate these industries that are destroying the planet, not to allow the destruction of the planet and give these billionaires enough wealth to wall themselves off and make us live with the consequences of their actions. At the dawn of Trump's first term, the New Yorker investigated a phenomenon that it described as doomsday prep for the super rich. Back then, it was already clear that in Silicon Valley and on Wall Street, the more serious high-end survivalists were hedging against climate disruption and social collapse by buying space in custom-built underground bunkers and building escape homes on high grounds in places like Hawaii, where Mark Zuckerberg has downplayed his 5,000 square foot underground pad as little shelter. and New Zealand, where Thiel purchased 500 acres but found his plan to build a luxury survivalist compound rejected by local authorities in 2022 for being an eyesore. But wait, it gets worse. Meanwhile, even darker philosophies are finding a wider audience, like the neo-reactionary pro-monarchy rants of the coder Curtis Yarvin, another one of Thiel's intellectual touchstones, or the pro-natalism movement's obsession with dramatically increasing the number of Western babies, a Musk fixation, as well as exit guru Srinivasan's vision of a tech Zionist San Francisco, where corporate loyalists and police join forces to politically cleanse the city of liberals to make way for their networked apartheid state. As AI scholars Timnit Gebru and Emil P. Torres have written, though the methods may be new, this bundle of ideological fads are direct descendants of first-wave eugenics. The fact that their profits are predicated on planetary devastation explains why the discourse among the powerful is giving way to open expressions of disdain for the idea that we owe each other anything by right of our shared humanity. They recognize that their wealth comes from destroying the world. And rather than choose a different path, they've decided to double down on destroying the world and to create a morality that makes them feel as if that is just. Or maybe they just don't care. Like Elon Musk saying empathy is a weakness. Of course, empathy is no longer a weakness if you start to bully him about his stock price. Then it's just mean. And now from the article again, an unspeakably dismal choice is being made before our eyes and without our consent. Machines over humans, inanimate over animate, profits over all else. With stunning speed, the big tech megalomaniacs have quietly rolled back their net zero pledges and lined up by Trump's side, hell-bent on sacrificing this world's real and precious resources and creativity at the altar of a vampiric virtual realm. I cannot recommend this article enough.